Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, Machiavelli Mills TV. So, I'm on social media and I see that Dwayne Wade's ex-wife, Siohvaughn Funches, she's upset. She's been upset at Dwayne Wade and Gabrielle Union and how they've been rearing her child for a while now. The child being Zaya Wade, formerly known as Zion Wade, right? And so, she's upset. She feels like her ex-husband, Dwayne Wade, is exploiting their child, right? And so, I'm going to talk about this situation. I'm going to speak very carefully because this is a child that we're dealing with. I want to give my 2 cents on this situation. So, Zaya Wade, formerly Zion Wade, I want to say about a year and a half ago, started to transition to identify as a girl instead of a young boy. Which Zaya was born as a boy. Now Dwayne Wade and Gabrielle Union have allowed Zion to transition to Zaya and identify as a girl. Dwayne Wade, as a father, recognized that his child had different interests than regular young boys, and identified that his child, was probably into the opposite sex or wanted to identify as a young lady. And so they allowed that to occur. Whatever the case may be, with that, after the transition occurred, to me, I'm gonna be honest with you all, Dwayne Wade and Gabrielle Union started to talk about it on different shows and different platforms. And it started to feel like an album rollout to me. It really did. It started to feel like an album rollout. Going on these different platforms, discussing, the child's transition, so on and so forth. I don't know. I kind of was like, I was on edge about it because it's like, I know, when you're a celebrity and you have a child that transitions to identify as the opposite sex, it's going to be a hot topic, a topic of conversation. People are going to wonder about it, so on and so forth. But I don't know. I feel like a lot more care should have probably been taken in the situation. Again, this is not my child, so I can't speak on it, right? And I may be speaking out of turn, because it's not my child. But I'm like, man, I don't know if I would be going on these different talk shows and just discussing it so much because, again, this is a child that we're talking about, and this is a cruel world that we live in. So, just keeping on discussing it on all these different platforms. People are very cruel and very heinous, and it could bring a lot of animus not only towards Dwayne Wade and Gabrielle Union, but also to the child who should not have any animus put on. The child shouldn't have any animus put on them. It's not something that I don't think a child is old enough to handle at such a young age. Zaya Wade is 15 years old, so it's like you're still a kid, right? And so I was like, I don't really know if I really agree with the way it seems like they just going on like a tour talking about it a lot. I don't know, but again, it's not my child, and again, I know that when you have a child who is identifying as transgender, or I believe that's the term, when your child is identifying as the opposite sex, I know that they are going to already face a lot of scrutiny. They're going to face a lot of backlash. They're going to face a lot of vile remarks, so on and so forth. But I feel like as an adult, they may be more equipped to handle those things rather than a child. And again, some children are very strong and they can be very tough-skinned and mature and so on and so forth. But me as a parent, I'm very cautious about putting my children in certain lines of fire all across the board, regardless, right? I don't default Dwayne Wade for, loving his child. That's people. You're gonna love your child regardless of what their sexual orientation is. A good parent is gonna love their child regardless of their sexual orientation. I just felt like it just seems to be. It seemed like almost like an album rollout. Everything to. I'm gonna be real with you. Even outside of the Zaya Wade situation, this couple seemed to be a lot. Everything seems to be dealing with their brand to me. And I don't always necessarily agree with it in the way they carry out things. Case in point, Gabrielle Union wrote a book, and in her book, she discussed how Dwayne Wade having a child outside of her during a time when they were on a break. Now, honestly, I don't believe they were really on a break. I believe Dwayne Wade maybe conceived this child when they were together, and they say it was during the break to kind of like save face. But hey, what do I know? They could be telling the truth. Nonetheless, she speaks about how hurt and how damaged she was from the birth of this child, from the conception of this child, so on and so forth. And to me, I feel like that was kind of tasteless. By this point, the world knows that she was upset. The world knows that she didn't like it. She didn't take kindly to it. It hurt her feelings because she had problems conceiving children naturally. The world knows that. But to put it in your book and discuss it and go in depth about how it made you feel, this, that, and the third, and how it made you feel minuscule, and how it made you feel just so betrayed, and so on and so forth, and how it hurt you to the core and to the depths of you and all that, I feel like that was a lot. That was too much. Too much, because at some point that child that Dwayne Wade conceived with another woman is going to be older, going to grow old, and they're going to see this and say, wow, my dad's wife really had a problem with me being born. My dad's wife really had a problem with me coming about. My dad's wife really would have rather me not been here. And how is that child going to like receive that information? It's going to hurt their heart and hurt their soul and hurt their feelings. And I get it. When you're writing a book, you want to discuss, with vulnerability and a level of transparency, your feelings about certain things in your life. But I feel like everything doesn't need to be discussed. Everything doesn't need to be discussed for our entertainment and our amusement, for the public's knowing. Some things need to be kept internally, because some things just need to be kept internally, because we don't always need to keep it real about everything, because some things just may come back to hurt another individual who is an innocent person in the situation, which is a child. I feel like when Gabrielle Union did it, she did it not just to give strength to other women, but to like in efforts to help their brand stay what it is. And so when I felt what Siohvaughn Funches, Dwayne Wade's ex-wife, was saying regarding Zaya Wade, like it seemed to be exploitive in the nature that, they were going about, discussing the child and the child's transition and all this and all of that. Do I think that was the intent? Nah, I don't think Dwayne Wade really wanted to exploit his child. Really? Like, I don't think he wants to like make his child like oh man, I want to throw my child under the bus for money. But I believe they're trying to make their child, they're doing a lot of things for their brand, for the brand of their family, to keep continuing to progress and thrive in the entertainment industry. Even by making their child the poster child for transgender children. Again, I understand, that, they're going to, so I'm gonna say this. I understand that, you're gonna support your child's interests, so on and so forth, and a lot of adults, whether they're rich or not, they want their children to be successful and have future successful endeavors and to be prosperous, right? But again, it almost felt exploitive the way it felt like they were going on an album rollout talking about the child on these different platforms, especially when a child is so young and could be susceptible to so much criticism. And I was just like, man, I don't know if I would do that. When my child is 14, 13 years old. At the time when they were doing this, Zaya was like 13. The child was 13, 14. I was just like, yo, that's so young. Like, I don't know. And again, I guess they try to get ahead of it, because people are gonna see them out with the child, and they're gonna see them, on the red carpets and so on and so forth. So people are gonna discuss it, and they can't hide from it and run from it. And I understand that, but it was just like, I don't know if I would have went about it in that way. But again, I'm different. I'm different. Everybody's different. But I was just like, I can see where she may have felt it was exploitative, because everybody knows that when you have when you're a famous individual and you have a child that identifies as another gender, marketing deals come from that, brand deals, probably modeling deals, so on and so forth, come from those things, which ultimately increases and enhances the brand of the Wade family, for sure. And again, I feel like this family is a family that is all about brand and marketing, even to the degree where Dwayne Wade's other child that he conceived outside of Gabrielle Union is not even in pictures. Family pictures all on social media. It's just them, their immediate family, and not the child that Dwayne Wade conceived with another woman. I feel like that's all about image and brand. And I feel like that Gabrielle Union does not want to be, she may not feel, and maybe both of them, not just Gabrielle, Dwayne Wade, he's accepting it, he's allowing it. They may not feel like their brand is not suitable for their brand to show a child that was conceived outside of that family structure, or what a child that wasn't present before Gabrielle Union came into play. Because they have their little nephew that Dwayne Wade raises in their family photos. They have his children that he had with Siohvaughn Funches in the photos. But they don't have the child that he conceived with the other young lady while him and Gabrielle Union were on a break. And I think it's all about their brand. They want their brand to look like the perfect family, the perfect blended family, an image of a man who is just true to his wife and all about supporting his wife and her endeavors and supporting his children. But they don't want to show that, hey, Dwayne Wade has a child outside of Gabrielle Union that was conceived, but he loves that child and recognizes that child as a part of his family too, and Gabrielle Union does as well. I feel like Gabrielle Union has a problem, still has a problem with that child, and because she does, she has a problem because it affects her brand and their brand as a family, and she'd rather keep that child away. Now, some may say maybe the mother of that child doesn't want their child in the circus that comes along with it. And it could be true. The mother of the child may not want her child involved in that, right? And some people may say, well, maybe Dwayne Wade wants to keep his child out of that because he knows how cruel the world can be towards, a child that were, conceived through infidelity. Well, they say it wasn't infidelity, but you know what I mean. Outside of that family structure, a child that was conceived outside of that family structure may be prone to animus, right? But I feel like if they're going to put Zaya Wade in that line of fire, and they've taken the approach of to hell with what anyone thinks. That's their approach. That's their approach with Zaya Wade. To hell with what anybody thinks about my child. I'm going to love my child. That's their approach they've taken with Zaya Wade. I feel like, why can't you take that approach with Dwayne Wade's son that he conceived with another woman? If you feel like you're going to be staunch in the approach with Zaya Wade and feel like, hey, my child, this is a child, but hey, it is what it is. To hell with what anyone thinks. We're going to showcase our child. Dwayne Wade can also do the same thing with a child that he conceived with another woman. That's my opinion. But ultimately, I feel like, everything that the majority that this family does is they're considering their brand with every single move they make. And to me, that's not the way a family is supposed to operate. Yes, families have brands. So yes, I'm not against a family having a brand and pushing that brand forth. I'm not against that at all. Everybody does it, from LeBron James and all these other different families as well. But I think the Wade family pushes their brand to the point where it can be detrimental to their family structure, to the children, and how they can be in the line of fire from animus, and also to the children and how they may be inconsiderate to that Dwayne Wade's child he conceived outside of Gabrielle Union. They could be inconsiderate to that child's feelings, because as a child, I know as I'm getting older and I see I see that I'm not included in family photos. I'm not including on your Instagram page with your other children, and even your nephew is included and I'm not included. That can have an effect on that child to say, man, am I not accepted within this family? You know what I mean? I think that they put their brand first so much that it can be detrimental to their family structure. But I also feel like, Dwayne Wade, since he conceived that other child with that other woman, he's been walking on eggshells within his own home. And to me, that is no way for a man to live his life within his own household. At that point, you're under the rulership, the dictatorship of your woman, to where you may have to submit to her every will if you're not strong enough as a man to stand down. So it's not just on Gabrielle Union. It's on Dwayne Wade to draw a line in things, even if you made a mistake. Because my mom always told me that if a woman chooses to stay with you, if a woman chooses to stay with a man through the conception of another child, she has to accept that child wholeheartedly, right? Or it's not going to work. And if a man allows his woman to dictate the terms of him and his relationship with his child that he conceived with another woman, if he allows his wife or his woman to do that, he's a weak man, without any question. And I would agree with that. But yeah, man, I agree with Siohvaughn Funches in the way it can seem exploitive, because brand deals, and you see TV shows and stuff. It would be a great marketing tool to roll out your child being transgender on all these different platforms and networks and so on and so forth. Also, I feel for Siohvaughn Funches in a way maybe she may have not been the best parent. I know she's not financially best fit to take care of the children the way Dwayne Wade is. However, I do feel a way about her not having any input on the transition of her child that she gave birth to, right? She has no input on, the child wanting to identify as another gender, changing the name of the child from Zion to Zaya. She had no input on that. And this is her child. It seemed like Gabrielle Union had all the input, and she was the one pushing that forward, and she was the one, what's the word I'm looking for? Advocating for that, But yeah, I think a lot of things kind of just seem to be about the brand for this family. Even with them taking Zaya Wade to the it's the gay pride parades that occur. I don't know where they were, but it was at a gay pride parade. Now, as you all know, I have nothing against anybody who's gay. Got gay subscribers, got gay, people all within the working place that I work, family members, so on and so forth. I have nothing against anybody and how they choose to. I have nothing against anybody in their sexual orientation at all. But I've heard how at the gay pride parade, a lot of individuals are there naked and certain body parts out, and flaunting certain things that a child. Zaya was 13 years old, that a child should not be around. And I was like, yo, are they that interested in their brand and increasing and enhancing their brand so much that they would have a 13-year-old child at the gay pride parade, when I know there are things that are there that can be obscene, like people being naked and so on and so forth. And me as a dad, right, is the type of father I am. My son could be a heterosexual, straight young boy. I'm not going to have my son. I'm not the father who's going to have my son around naked women. And I'm not trying to hypersexualize my child and get my child aroused to want to be into sex at a young age. Not saying that Zaya was, it hypersexualized Zaya or anything like that. But I'm just saying, I wouldn't want to put them in those atmospheres, because you just never know the effects of those things. Right? And I just don't want to put them in. I don't want them to put them around certain things too soon. And I think even having Zaya at the gay pride parade was it could be a bit much, because I've heard, especially in Chicago, how the gay pride parades are. People have told me how, naked and how it can be kind of inappropriate for children to be seeing because of how raunchy it could be. And I wouldn't want my child around any type of raunchiness, whether it's raunchiness from the gay community or the straight community. I wouldn't want them around raunchiness at 13 years old. I just wouldn't. But yeah, I feel it's about, a lot is about the brand for this family. So it's about the brand so much that I think they've taken this laissez-faire approach, hands-off approach with Zaya with a lot of things. Case in point, Zaya, who identifies as a woman, is a girl. Zaya is dating she's in a relationship, and the individual she's in a relationship is a girl who now identifies as a boy. It seems like, right? This is what it seems like to me, because I've seen pictures of the individual, the young lady dressed as a girl, and then now it seems like she's dressing like a boy. Nonetheless, Zaya and the young lady are in pictures kissing. This was like last year. Zaya at the time was like 14 years old. 14, maybe just had turned 14. Kissing, I mean kissing like I would kiss my son's mother when she's like leaving, or she's getting on the plane going to another, she's leaving, or we're getting ready to part from each other or something like that, right? Kissing like I would if I seen my woman, like kissing like you would when you see your wife and your wife is about to leave or depart from you. Like in that type of manner, right? Like a grown kiss you see and like displayed on Instagram. On Zaya's Instagram page. And I'm like, why is Zaya posting this? Like, and why is Dwayne Wade and Gabrielle Union allowing their child to post this image of, them kissing their significant other, their dating partner or whatever, at 14 years old? And it looks like a passionate kiss. That's way too grown for me, right? If I see my son kiss, I'm not going to have no son. I'm not going to allow, if I'm on the social media site, I'm not going to allow my son to be posting images of him kissing on his girlfriend at 14 years old. Now, again, we know they're kissing each other. We know, I'm not dumb. We know at 14 years old, people are kissing each other. I bet not see it, though. I bet not be having it on social media. I'm not going to allow you to post it on social media like you grown. Because then the other person's parent might be like, yo, like, what the heck? This is not okay. Like, they ain't grown. They not some older couple. They 13, 14 years old. That shouldn't be a thing where it's like, okay, that's fine. Because Gabrielle Union and Dwayne Wade are both on Instagram so they can see it. I'm like, yo, who's taking this picture of them kissing? And who was allowing them to be this grown? I feel like they are so on brand about their brand and how accepting they are of their child's transition, that they are letting Zaya do things that they probably wouldn't even advocate for their other children to do, because it seems on par with their brand, and their brand as the ultimate accepting parents. You know what I mean? If that makes any sense. Yeah, so it's I think this family can be exploitive because of how strongly they want their brand to progress. And I'm like, yo, it's nah, man. I wouldn't be able to. That's just something that I wouldn't be able to be advocating for. And I feel what Siohvaughn Funches is coming from when she feels like, yo, this is a bit much at times, and how it can be presented as exploitive. Again, I don't think Dwayne Wade means any harm in doing it, but I do feel like the Wade family is always concerned about their brand and how it can look to other people and how they come across and how they try. I think they're always trying to strategically set up their brand to where they can get certain deals and certain, certain looks and stuff for certain things. But at the same time, it can be a detriment to their household. That's just my opinion. Machiavelli Mills TV, I'm out. Peace.